Hi, I'm Gloria.
And I'm Mari.
Just two women trying to inspire ourselves
and others. Yay. All right, well, let's dive in. I'm so excited that you got the book. So we're going to be talking today about strengths and weaknesses and and we ended last time with a question about, how a strength in your life benefited you and maybe how a weakness became so obvious that you had to do something about it. But I'm glad that you got the book because I'm excited for you to dive into it. Yes, Strengths Finder. It's a great, it's absolutely wonderful, I think, for becoming really aware about what some of your gifts are. So,
well, just to say, I haven't read it yet. I haven't done it yet, so I will. Just didn't have time to do it. I picked it up yesterday.
Yeah, and the book comes with a little test that you're going to take, so I'm excited. So what do you think are some of your best strengths, Gloria, even just not even having read the book yet or done the test?
So I will say, I think we touched base on a lot of our strengths, the creativity, the fact that we're able to, the OCD part could also be a strength because we look at its attention to detail.
Yeah.
So you could always twist that to the positive aspects of it, I think.
Course.
But one strength that I didn't talk about is the fact that life has taught me to be a little bit of a risk taker. I believe that probably has been to my advantage a lot. And that was actually pointed out to me from a friend of mine because she called me. She was trying to do something and she was like, I need your advice. How do you do this? Because you just do it and you don't even think about it and it always comes out right. And, recently that it's come into play a lot of times with things outside of the photography that I tend to take risks easily when it comes to like financial situations or, buying a property, selling a property.
That's what I was thinking as you were talking about them. Like, I can totally see that. Yes.
So, I know it probably is scary to other people, but to me, I don't even think twice about it anymore. I think that I leap probably before I think it through thoroughly.
Right.
But I have to say, whether it's attributed to luck, whether it's attributed to having the right people to support you.
That's smart.
Because even with me, when I'm not too sure about something, for instance, I know but I was in the process of, I sold a property, I was buying a new property out of state. They had to be the same type of property.
Right.
So it was a little difficult, obviously, buying something that's not here. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, it's about getting the right referrals, using the people that I don't mean using them in a negative way.
No, yeah, utilizing
but
relationships.
Asking them for the referrals, asking them the questions, trying to get as much information as you can, even if it's not what you're knowledgeable about. And I've been lucky in that aspect because one friend in particular in the legal realm, she's always pointed me in the right direction. For my lawyer up there, the realtor that I found up there, he's been great guiding me with inspectors and with this and, the exchange company that I use. So it's like everything falls into place, but a lot of it has to do with the team I have around me here and the fact that I feel comfortable enough with them to ask them and to let them guide me because at the end of the day, I'm not going to pretend I know how to do it.
It's so interesting. I feel like that's something I can learn from you then. You're a good delegator.
I am. I think at first I wasn't. And I just have learned de golpe, as they say, the hard way, that when I've tried to do everything by myself, honestly, I don't succeed. So I have realized that go to the people that know and let them help you. And, at the end of the day, in the situation that I'm talking about, yes, it's going to cost you money, but it's going to cost you less than if you make the mistakes.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with that anymore. And I jump in
right
easily now.
It's so interesting because I think that what you're saying is true. It's like such a good lesson because when you are prepared and you have like the right relationships, you have like the right people to support your decision, like it is easier a little bit to take risks probably. So even though, so you said something, you said that life has taught you to take risks. What do you think has helped you, was it like your upbringing? Was it was it just trying new things? Or have you been somebody that always tries new things?
I don't think I always tried new things, but I think I've learned along the way that when I have failed, I kind of look at it like, well, I mentioned this before. I've learned from my mistakes.
Right.
But I also think that sometimes I look at it as, what was the worst that happened? I kind of have that outlook. Like I look back like, okay, this is what happened. Yes, it wasn't the outcome I wanted.
Right.
And, may have been negative if I look at it in a certain way, but it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, you keep the lesson and throw away the experience.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I didn't always have that mentality.
It's so interesting though, because I think that when you live like that, you're able to have a lot, more joy, like in what you do. I feel like you do have a lot of joy. Like, it's funny because I feel like I'm learning to take more risks. My dad always used to tell us to take calculated risks. I was like, how do you calculate it though? It's like, how do I, and he was like, oh, he would have this little formula first. He's like, you write down what's the worst thing that could happen and what's the best thing that can happen.
Oh my gosh.
And if the best thing that can happen outweighs the worst thing that could happen, then you do it. And so I think that that's such a great way to live because, it's important to try new things and to take risks and failure is actually a good thing, right? So not ever really failing. It's like propelling you to the next step.
No, and I think as you start taking risks, which is probably why it becomes easier to do them, in those risks that you succeed at,
right,
the benefits are so great that you can't help to want to do that again.
Rich always says that when you start taking risks, you gain like a momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is that you mentioned like maybe it's a little bit of luck. What happens is that you actually bring luck upon yourself. Like you become luckier because you're putting yourself in more situations to be lucky.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I'm excited because I know that you took a big risk recently and it's going to pay off in such a big way. And that's...
Well, and going back to the team, a lot of it has to do with really putting your trust in them. Like not trying to control them or, which maybe they may say I do a little bit, but, a little bit of that letting go.
Right.
Because you have to understand, okay, that's their expertise.
Right.
That's their area. So maybe ask the questions, tell them how, because sometimes I say, okay, this is what I think, but now tell me if you think it should be done that way or if you think, no, that's completely off.
Wow.
Because sometimes I have my opinion.
Right.
And I'll share it, but I'm like, okay, but you're the expert, so you need to tell me.
Right.
And sometimes, they agree, and sometimes they're like, no, you need to approach it from this aspect. So that's probably my strength at the moment, which I think could change as...
But I mean, I think it's, we use different strengths at different times. One of my strengths that's in here, I was telling you this, and my husband would probably laugh at it, is communication. It is something that I think I'm very good at communicating. What they mean by communication, and that's one of the things I love that it explains to you, like what it means, and you'll see when you do the book, but what they mean is like about communicating a message or being able to share. And I do think that is a big strength of mine, the communicating in stories. But I was going to talk about a weakness that became really blatantly obvious recently. And it's so interesting because, like I said, I think, every strength that we have, or any weakness we have, you can turn it into a strength, or you can work on it enough that, or you can delegate it out so that it becomes a strength.
Right.
So I have futuristic, and it's one of my favorite, actually, gifts of mine, in that I can see something in its completion even before, like, I can, basically see something, a project completed, or have a vision for the future, and like I can see the end point so vividly. Like, I can feel it, I can taste it, I can hear the sounds. It's like one of my greatest gifts, I think.
That's amazing how you said that. That's one of the things I've heard, that when you could feel it and have like all these senses about what you're envisioning,
right?
That's part of, like, if you believe in the whole vision board and bringing things to...
What you think about, you bring about.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when and that's one of the things they say, if you close your eyes and you could truly feel it,
right,
and sense it, and get goosebumps about it, that's really you bringing that into reality.
It's so interesting. So let me tell you how powerful that is, okay? And how you can actually delay like your own giftings and success by not having, like, your vision has to be so clear always. And so I have, in my business, like, I have a vision of earning a pink Cadillac. So, but like, it really, I'm celebrating 10 years in business this year, and I've always had the vision, but it wasn't very clear. It's always been very muddled. A few months ago, my best friend Christine, who's the one that brought me into Mary Kay, she has a pink Cadillac, and Julian saw her car. My son Julian, my 3-year-old. He's gonna be 4 in a couple weeks, and he became obsessed, Gloria. And you've seen him quite a few times, like, obsessed. And every day he started asking me, "Where's mommy's pink Cadillac?" Every day. And you know how it is with kids, like, it becomes a thing. And it's so interesting, because it wasn't until he started asking me that I started refining my vision. And then all of a sudden it came to me, like, and I could see myself, like, with him at the Cadillac dealership, holding the baby, like, dressed in a pink silky dress, her with pigtails, like, I can see it. Like, he has, like, the flowers to give me. He has a little bow tie.
Oh my God.
I started, like, envisioning the moment. So, and it was, like, so clear, and I say that because, like, even though that is one of my greatest gifts, I haven't revisited it, like, my vision, enough times, and that's one of my weaknesses. That, like, I'll create a vision, or I'll have a vision for something, but I won't revisit it over enough to make it a reality. Right. And that's, like, one of the things that's become so, I think, clear to me, like, in recent times. And I think this is true, like, I've seen it now playing out with Julian, and what you're saying about, like, delegating and knowing how to, like, play up other people's gifts and strengths and expertise. That's something that has become obvious to me that I haven't done enough of. I've tried to do it all myself.
Right.
And so I can't give myself enough time to even live in a vision, or like, really do the things that contribute to getting to that end goal, or that end dream. Because I have not delegated enough. So you saying, I didn't even know you were going to say that. You didn't tell me you were going to say that. But that's what I was going to say, that I've realized that I need to delegate more. That I need to take time to plan. And that's also one of my strengths.
Right.
And to give other people a chance to, like, say, "Oh, hey, this is your strength. What do you think I should do for this?" Or hire an accountant.
I won't even dare go there.
Yeah, exactly. Me either. Let's not talk about that.
No. But you know how you said, like, you don't revisit that vision often enough? I think that's just life. Like, we have so much going on in a day.
Yeah.
We have so many things that we have to focus on and make sure this is finished by the end of the day, and what takes priority, and what, so all these things start coming, and we place them before focusing on that vision and taking the time to really dream, in a way.
Yes.
That it just gets pushed to the back burner, and unfortunately that's just what our daily lives become. Right. Sometimes.
And then before you know it, it's been 10 years and you didn't even realize it. It's so interesting. I've been, like, very acutely aware of that, because I know that the passage of time is, like, it's something that if you don't pay attention to it, it just like slips through your fingers. And I was thinking, you know, what is it that I can do to make sure that, you know, I'm closer to that goal, to that dream this year, you know, today. And like that's something that I started doing now in the mornings. Like I've been writing out, you know, what is it that I'm doing today to get closer to that dream? You know, who can I talk to that's gonna inspire that dream more? And like trying to put myself like in the position. And for me, and I know for you too, like it's like quiet time, like being in the Word, like really like what is it God is calling me to do today, you know, this year, this month. Like how is it that I can get closer to that? Because for me, my dream is very much tied to also what I believe is like my calling or like God's purpose for my life. And I know it is for you too. And so I believe that my strengths are the gifts that He's given me. You know, so how can I grow? Grow is my word for the year. That's another thing we could talk about one day.
Growing.
Grow, or a word for your word, or a word for a year. But grow is my word for this year. And it's like, how can I grow the gifts that He's given me, these strengths, so that I can be more firmly planted in like that purpose that He has for my life. What's like a dream? What's a dream that you have for your life? That this is going a totally different direction, but what's a dream that you have for your life, and what are some of the things that you do to get you closer to that dream? Just curious. I've never asked you this.
The thing is, I think there's so many dreams, but obviously, I think some of them are what it is for many people, you know, to say, I want to travel more, I want to this, I want to, you know, enjoy life, have more extra time. But honestly, for me, when I started this career and everything, and even when I was a teacher, I think I've always chosen things that I feel have either, like when I was a teacher, it was a schedule where I knew I would be home with my children. You know, when they got out of school, I knew that I had that time with them.
Right.
And then when I became a photographer, it was also the flexibility. I knew that I could be very accessible to them. So for me, having time for your family and being able to have that flexibility, and, you know, even things like, okay, I want to go, I don't know, in a month here just for a week and just enjoy it. That flexibility to me is very important. But to have that family time and enjoying those moments and being able to share in that has always been a dream. And I think that that's honestly my goal in life, that no matter what I do, like for me, it's always going to be steps to have more of that time or more of that flexibility.
I love that.
You know, I think that's always been the center of whatever dream I have.
Freedom and flexibility.
So
that's me too.
It's just more time. I mean, I don't want to, it's not about having more time, like being retired or anything like that. That's never really been something like I would say, oh, I want to be retired at whatever age. No, because I enjoy all the things I've done.
Right.
But it's just more flexibility and more time with family has always been a goal and will continue to be a dream to have that.
More time to spend with the people you love.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a big part of my dream too, just to be able to have. So I called this the year of 100 dreams. And I told Rich, I'm like, we are going to fulfill 100 big and small dreams.
How do you even come up with this?
I don't know. It was God inspired. And so like little dreams, like I was like, some of them are really silly. It was like, I want Julian to ride his first roller coaster. So like, you know, when we went to Disney, we rode a roller coaster. It was like, take him to a sports game. We went to a Marlins game a couple weeks ago.
And do you write this down? Like what your dreams are?
Yeah, we wrote down 100 dreams and we wanted to like, so this is how much we forget to dream as adults. It was hard for us to get to 100. We still are not there.
Okay, I'm totally doing that.
Okay, so you have to do it. You have to do it with me. And this plays into one of my strengths, like which is the futuristic. I was like, at the end of this year, we're going to have checked off 100 dreams. Let's envision what that's going to look like. What's that going to feel like, you know, on New Year's Eve when we're like, wow, look at the year we had. 100 dreams, and we're like doing the book of the year of 100 dreams as we go along.
Wait, but there's a book called that?
I'm gonna make a Shutterfly book.
Okay.
I'm like adding up, so I save a picture from every time we do one of these experiences that I want to do. I'm saving a picture to make a book at the end of the year of what the 100 dreams were. Because I
love it. You're holding yourself so accountable. I'm
going to do it because that's not one of my strengths. Like being accountable to something, that's not a gifting of mine. So I'm doing this.
You're working on it.
I'm working on it, so I do it, and so that it like goes into other areas of my life. But I'm like so passionate about it because I think that not enough of us dream. And like little things like, we're going to do our beach trip. And so I told Rich, I'm like, I want to collect shells. I want to do like a shell morning where we collect shells and I want to find a starfish. And so like, it's a silly dream, but I'm like, we're going to collect shells and a starfish and we're going to make something out of it. And that's one of the dreams I want to fill this year. Like it's really a year of 100 experiences, like giving the gift of time to the people that I love. And, and just being able to look back, so we promised ourselves this year that we were not going to buy our children any gifts because honestly, everybody else in their life buys them so much stuff. They don't need us to buy them anything.
Right.
That what we're going to give them is experiences, big
Aww.
and small. And so, yes, playing into, so like, this is like a personal thing that I'm doing, but using that ability to, that futuristic strength to create that vision of what it's going to feel like, look like, what it's going to be. Communication, I've been telling everybody about it. Like I literally talk about it to everybody. And I even talk about it in my Mary Kay parties, like for my business, because I feel like when you like talk about it more, you do it. So the more people you tell. So that's a big thing about communication. Like when you share your vision for your life, you share what you're working on, you create the story around it. People buy into it more, right? And it affirms it. So, just using those strengths to then, like you said, then holding myself accountable to making sure they happen. So, and also communicating that vision makes people, because you'll probably ask me, hey, how much closer are you to the year of 100 dreams? And then you're like, better get going.
I'm totally stealing that. I love it.
Isn't it good? And actually, I know I got it from somebody, but one of my mentors in Mary Kay, her name is Karen Rydell. She always talks about fulfilling dreams. And as part of her team, she like counts down every month, like how many dreams people fulfilled. So that's really where I got the idea from. And I was like, I'm just going to do that in my life.
That is so awesome. Okay, I'm going to make you go back to your strength of communication because that's my weakness.
Okay.
So I could totally learn from you to this day, and I think the last time we met, I spoke about how hard it was for me to speak up.
Right.
And it's a struggle I've had since I was a little kid. And to this day, I have a very difficult time communicating in particular to people that I love, especially in particular when it comes to my emotions.
Yeah.
Whether it's, psychological, that I feel I'm going to hurt them or I'm going to relay the message incorrectly. Because usually when I get to the point that I'm going to communicate, I've already built up things.
Right.
And I feel like it doesn't get communicated so nicely probably by the time I express it.
Right.
And then if I express it before, then it's also I feel like I'm nitpicking, and I'm a very bad communicator. Very bad when it comes to relationships and emotional things.
Right. So I think a couple things. So it's funny because I think my husband might be the exception to that. Because, but I can communicate very well with him when I'm calm. I think so I'll say this, caveat this. We all have our times where, our emotions get the best of us, right? So in general, like I'll give you an example of where I think communication, the ways that you can work on like a communication skill or like making that more of a strength. So I have found that asking questions is like the greatest way of communicating. The reason why is because...
You have to give me an example.
I'll give you an example. So, I will... Okay, let's say that I want Rich to take out the trash. Okay? I'll say, is there any reason that you can't take out the trash right now?
See, but I would think that sounds rude.
No. Is there any reason that you can't take out the trash right now? And he might say, no, there's not a reason I can't take the trash out right now. Or he'll say, yes, actually, I'm working on something. And then I'll say, okay, awesome, babe. You know, when do you think you're going to be able to take out the trash? And then he'll tell me, you know what, as soon as I'm done with this, I'll take it out. A lot of times, I've already asked him 5 million times. And then when he'll say, you know what, let me just stop what I'm doing a second. Let me do that. I'm giving you a really simple, really basic example. Because, so I have found that asking questions, like, it diffuses everything. Okay? Also, the other thing that I found in communicating, and this is true like with my children, so I come up with a phrase or a statement, like let's say there's like a heated moment. I come up with a phrase or a statement that like brings us back to center. So like in my marriage, that is, we want the same things, we have the same, I love you, we want the same things, we have the same values, we're on the same team. So then like if we're both like really
and you say
angry,
that out loud to
oh
him.
yeah, if we're both really angry, like, because if somebody says it to you, I love you, we want the same things, we have the same values, we're on the same team, like it kind of like calms you down, and you're like, yes, that's true, we do love each other, we do want the same things, we have the same values, we're on the same team. Like it just reiterates like kind of, it's like a mantra.
No, that would totally calm me down.
Right. So like I have found, I always remember to do that? No. But I will say that he'll probably, when he watches this, I do try to do that as much as I can. When I remember, which is, I would say probably 70% of the 7 out of 10 times.
That's great.
You know, I will say that. And because to me, that is the core. It's the truth. It's like, we want the same things. We're on the same team. You know, it's like, let's remember that before we let this go any further. And so I think having like simple tools like that. So with my kids, like Julian is a really emotional child. And he gets super heated. My mantra with him is, I love you. And nothing that you do is going to make me not love you. And he literally like, it calms him down. He like stops. And then I hug him. Like literally just hold him and smother him.
And he's turning 4 now.
Yeah.
I can't believe that already like
I know.
settles him.
So, because kids understand so much more than we think they understand. And, you know, obviously one of the things that gives children security is like that affirmation of like, you're loved and nothing you can do will make you be unloved. And so like that's like my mantra with him. So I think that is one of my major communication tools. Personally, on a personal level. In business, I have other ones as well. But like figuring out what are those things, you know, in business or even in anything. And I think I learned this skill actually a lot from my dad. My dad is a storyteller. Telling a story is like a very powerful way of communicating. You know, and I think, you know, teaching lessons with stories, like how Christ did, like parables. Mm-hmm. My dad was always very good at that. And I think that's a gifting that I got from him.
So what I love is the fact that you come up with a mantra or a statement that is honest, that it's a truth, where the other person sees the validity in it.
Right.
And I think that recenters whatever you're trying to express, even if it may be something that you initially see as a negative, like it just refocuses you.
Right.
And even the simple things, like the example you gave about the garbage, you know, asking a question. You know, sometimes when I have something difficult that I want to discuss that maybe has come up in the past, you know, I'll delve into it like, you know, so we were talking about this and that, and like, I'm very straight, you know, like a pointed arrow to the point. I don't sugarcoat it. And the question is not that you're sugarcoating it, but I think it just seems gentler. Like maybe asking, so what do you think about what we spoke about the other day?
That's a great question. And in general, like the rule is you ask questions that are not yes or no questions. So it's like what, how, when, who. Because those things invoke actual visuals or, a response.
Right.
So, and you don't shoulda, coulda, or woulda on anyone.
I like it.
I'm still working on this. I'm a work in progress. It is just because it's a strength by no means does it mean that I am perfect. So I don't want to convey that. But I do think that I'm very, very blessed in the environment that I've been in. If my business or like the environment that I've been in has been one that has helped cultivate that strength tremendously. And I'm grateful because a lot of the training that I get helps me not only in business and with my team, but it helps me at home for sure. It makes me a better wife and a better mom. And I'm grateful for that because, yeah.
Well, I love that our strengths are different.
I know, me too.
Because you're going to help me with communication.
And you're going to help me with learning how to delegate more. That really is something. And Rich would be so grateful of you if you teach me the ways, like how to just let go of control and give it to. So I'm excited to see this kind of.
We'll work on this together.
Yeah, we're going to work on it together. It's a work in progress.
Okay,
so.
I love it. So we're learning and inspiring each other.
Yes, I love it.
Okay, so.
And next time, we're going to talk about moms, being a mom. Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good. Since Mother's Day just passed, I know this may not be seen around the same time, but that's definitely been the focus or the celebration the last couple of days.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So maybe think about what has surprised you about yourself. And I'll think about this too, about like being a mom or like maybe something that being a mom has revealed to you about yourself.
Okay.
I'm thinking of one already, but yeah, that'll be fun. We can dive into that.
Perfect. Until next time.
Yay, until next time.